Wow, that's the first time I've heard it go recording in progress. Is that a thing?
It just started this week, and it gave all of us like continue or exit out of the call windows.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. So if you're watching this, I just had a little brief change up in how Zoom works, and I freaked out because I'm old. Anyway, hi, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and welcome to Hearts of Wulin Numberless Secrets. This is our Hearts of Wulin Brindlewood Bay mashup, where we are playing games in the vein of Ancient Detective and Maiden, Holmes, and I would even say if you've seen the movie Dragon, which has the worst name movie for trying to find it if you're searching for it, but it is about a wuxia detective who investigates things, and it's great. In any case, our investigators last time found themselves in the heart of a mystery, and we'll come back to what that is, and we'll have them introduce themselves. But you should know that this game is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. That's an online gaming community. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. Next Tuesday, which would be June 1st of 2021, at noon Eastern, we'll have open registration for our Gauntlet Community Open Gaming event, which is a free online gaming event intended to introduce people to playing online. Or if you've played online already, to introduce you to maybe some games that you haven't played. We have a couple of Hearts of Wulin games on the calendar and a bunch of other great stuff. So check out the gauntlet-rpg.com and see what's going on. Meanwhile, we have our characters here. Just to remind everyone, we operate using a number of safety tools, a layered set of tools. And of course, we have our X card, and we have an open door policy. But the thing that's kind of at the base that sets the rules for what we're doing are the lines and veils. And so we have lines on a few things for this game: dental horror, homophobia, any kind of sexual assault, and any kind of torture. These are all things that they aren't in our story. We're not going to have those elements here. There are some things that might pop up, but if they do, we're going to kind of fade to black, or elide them a little bit, what we're calling veils. That's for graphic gore, harm to animals, spiders, and suicide. And then a few things that if they would pop up, we're going to check in. We're going to check in a lot. That's a good standard procedure to have when we're playing an RPG like this. But things that were definitely like, if this kind of subject were to pop up, we definitely want to stop and check in. And that is for any kind of mind control, for issues where the PCs would be directly betraying one another, any kind of sexual content. All of those things are things that we want to check in before we have those brought to the table. But not murder, because murder is what's for dinner today. We'll come back to that in just a moment. But let's talk about who our characters are, who our investigators, our heroes are for today. Let us start then with Song Da.
Hi, I'm Patrick, he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Song Da of the Bureau of Legends, also he, him pronouns. Da is the aware/historian playbook and subtype, and that means that he belongs to a society, the aforementioned Bureau of Legends, that travels the martial world, watching and recording the great and notable deeds of the heroes and villains of the Wulin world, and making sure that all of the juicy details get recorded, and recorded accurately for history's sake. He is not much of a direct fighter himself, but he has really mastered the lightness, the levitation skills. He's a very quick mover. He can jump very far and very high. He can stand on ridiculous things that you shouldn't be able to stand on, because all of those are cool. He has a complicated relationship with Iron Lotus, who is not here and arguably is never actually here because Iron Lotus, I don't know if any of us have actually met the real Iron Lotus, but, you know, Golden Peony, Iron Lotus's sister, is the actual one. It's complicated disguises. Also been sent to investigate Lost Song Janai, slash someone else whose name I can't quite remember. Or no, Blue Mountain Scholar slash Lost Song Janai. That's our dichotomy there. Also disguises. Also unknown identities. Also very strange. All of it's a mystery, but not the real mystery, like the guy lying on the floor without his head over there. That's very dramatic and a good mystery. Songda, let's see, he interacted with Undaunted Zidong, who got very deep into her cups last night and was wildly inappropriate in some of the things that I'm sure she didn't quite realize that she was saying. Oh yes, got put down by stupid Pearl Boy. King of Pearls got knocked down in front of everyone like he's some sort of common servant Becker who doesn't even belong here, which I obviously belong here. I so deserve to be here, and he's just a stupid jerk.
Perfect. That brings us to the one of the two disguised folk, Blue Mountain Scholar.
Now, I actually am Lost Song Janai, and I didn't choose to be in disguise. I merely was obligated to do so because my granduncle, Blue Mountain Scholar, who is in fact a renowned consultant and scholar for the Blue Mountain sect, decided that now was the time that he needed to leave and go and look for his old friend who had disappeared. He left me with his blades. He left me with his seal. He left me with his second best clothes for every occasion that a scholar must be mindful of, and essentially implied that it was my job to follow up on this invitation that I had received, that he had received. So I have done so. I am disguised as my granduncle, and I have proceeded. The only one who knows this is the old family friend, Baoshi, who my granduncle believes will someday be a very, very great detective. So he has great faith in him. I have been, let's see here, I am the loyal and with the official playbook, because of course I have the truth-seeking blade and the seal, so I act as an official in the place of my uncle. And you can see why it might be somewhat inconvenient if it were discovered that I were not my granduncle. Let's see here. I have, in this time, I have, as my granduncle, met Songda at an earlier time and realized that he had a liking for this young Iron Lotus. And I have endeavored to help Songda out in his romantic aspirations. However, I found that Iron Lotus is a very intriguing person, and now I find myself somewhat conflicted each time that I go to assist Songda. So it's a little complicated. Let's see here. Is there anything else that I need to tell them? I have awesome, excellent moves of an official. And my style is called Truth-Seeking Blade. It's an earth style. And we haven't fought, and I hope we don't have to fight. So there you go.
We'll certainly see about that, won't we? Which brings us to our final investigator, a well-known and renowned investigator, the illustrious Bao Shi.
Hi there, I'm Tyler, he, him pronouns, and I am indeed playing Bao Shi, also with he, him pronouns. And I am the most renowned and wondrous detective of the realm, at least in my mind, which is still trap quick. I am playing the eccentric expert playbook, which comes off the Bravo. I have a love, a guard captain who we haven't really encountered, but he has been consistently warned off of me by a magistrate Delon who does not like me at all. Kind of the Lestrade to my Sherlock Holmes. I am not a great fighter. I fight very defensively. But when I have to, I've been known to take a scrappy bit, knowledge being power, of course. And I have a kind of suite of moves that allow me to be the biggest busybody around. I dabble in people's relationships, and I have the ability to kind of figure out who they've dealt with, who their connections are, as well as my detectiving skills, which let me figure out mysteries along the way, though not the big mystery. But it is quite impressive to see me go through sleuthing using it. I've spent my last time at the dinner speaking with the white monk, who is not a monk at all, I have discerned with my cleverness, and is in fact, I think, probably quite dangerous. But now that we've had our host turn up quite dead, there are a number of suspects, but I have the utmost confidence I shall figure it out with the help of these others.
Which brings us to the situation. You were all invited here by Song Guan Yu, who is the chief of the House of Sun. There was some discussion about his role within the Wulin world, which kind of came out of a crisis that happened 15 years ago, which we'll come back to. On the road, you met some people, including the notable Mao Qing, who had been drawn here. When you arrived, it was clear that there was something more going on. Some people had clearly been invited kind of maybe against their will. Some people had been tricked into coming. Mao Qing certainly had no love for investigators and made that quite clear. There was discussion once everyone was gathered together at the dinner by Song Guan Yu about there having been threats and vanishing students and attacks on the household and his worries about that. Certainly, I believe at that point, I believe that Blue Mountain Scholar said that guy is going to die. You had some things that you picked up in the various conversations. Mao Qing's relationship to some of the people, some of them you get better sense of than others. For example, I don't think that we dug too deep into Cheng Rogang beyond the strange weapon that they possess, or First Orchid. You know that Mao Qing knows Starry Garden. You know that King of Pearls is desperately in debt. There are some facts that you know. You also picked up that Sun Guan Yu's son, Sun Yang, was maybe a little unhappy with his position, his status here in the household. And so after dinner, when speaking with him, you all encouraged him to take matters into his own hands. He thanked you for your advice and he left. It wasn't that long later, a little while, that there were screams, and we come to essentially the garden here under moonlight. Most of the others have already gone to bed. You three were having, final drinks there before turning in, and you find the dead, headless body Sun Guan Yu there in the courtyard, and people are, gasp, gasp, all of that. And I think we're going to take up sort of in the immediate aftermath of that. You see that yellow shadow hunter turns to the servants and says to one of them, run to town, tell the magistrate and have an official sent. And then it turns to the other servants, shut the gates, no one is to enter or leave. And then he kind of turns to face you three, or at least Bao Shi and Blue Mountain Scholar. Song Da, while you may be an investigator, you perhaps do not have the same kind of reputation, correct?
I think that's fair, although his notepad is out and he's furiously calligraphizing some notes down.
Well, let's Sherlock this up. Song Da, what are you doing?
So I think, given that the attention is sort of more focused for the moment on Bao Shi and Blue Mountain Scholar, I think Da is taking the opportunity to, he's sketching down real quick, like, the death of Sun Guan Yu, noting the time, but then he's like getting up close to the corpse and doing like little pacing from the corpse over to a pillar or over to a staircase or over to a walkway to get some distances marked down, and he's sort of writing down some technical details of the layout of the crime scene while attention is turned elsewhere.
Does this feel like a study move?
Yeah, this might be a good opportunity to run across something.
Let's have you roll. What, I know you have a couple of elements that are marked right now, and you haven't yet had a chance to clear those.
Ooh, that is true. Don't feel like this is fire. So it's probably wood, patience and curiosity.
Okay, let's have you
having like sort of exacting steps and looking around. Roller page. I said there's a roller page. There we go. You guys. It's nothing. So you'll respond to me, I'm sure. That is a 9.
That is a 9. So on a 7 to 9, you can choose an option from the study list, or you could ask for a clue. Like if you wanted to know some details about what's happening here, things like that, I could give you that to set up some of the stage. But if you want a clue from the clue list, I can also give you one of those.
Okay, so it's sort of an option from the list as it is, or a clue with a cost.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I think I'm interested in finding a clue. You can definitely sort of quietly note down something or pick something up and then show it to Bao Shi later.
I think you will, as you're walking over there a little ways away, your eye will be caught by a glint of metal, and you will kind of casually kind of squat as if you're like looking at the lines of the distance, and kind of scoop up, and you'll pick up a set of I Ching coins. The coins that you cast. This is one of the options, the ways to read the I Ching is to cast these down. But almost, as you kind of pick them up, you have a very sharp eye. As a historian, a very easy get, and you'll kind of realize as you're like holding these that these might be like not legit I Ching coins. They might actually be slightly weighted. Very interesting. That is the clue that you will note. And I think as you're kind of there looking at that, you will hear someone say, "What is that you picked up?"
And he'll
And everyone
turn and
turns
stand up
and
very
looks at
quickly.
you. And you will see that your favorite friend, King of Pearls, has directed attention to you accusingly, and everyone is looking at you like they've seen that you had something, and now everyone is looking.
I suppose I'm trying to see if I can hang on to one of them while holding up the others, and say, I was just noting the position of the body for Mr. Bao's investigations going forward, and I saw these I Ching coins laying on the ground. Perhaps Sun Guan Yu, fearing for his future, was attempting to read the omens of what might come.
And everyone kind of looks at you. You have the sense nobody's going to take them from you, but you have the sense that everyone's here is going, it's a historian. What's going on with that? There's something.
And I think Da will like walk towards. So you said it was King of Pearls.
King of Pearls, yes.
Yeah, he'll walk towards King of Pearls as if he's going to hand them off, and then, like, not taking his eyes off of King of Pearl's face, he's going to hold his hand out directly to the side in Bao's direction to drop the coins into his hand.
King of Pearl's eyes narrow. His hand kind of does that slide down to his side, but he realizes he's just gotten up. He doesn't have his sword at his side, so he just kind of eyes things here. Green Mountain Scholar. Should I call you Green Mountain Scholar, or should I call you
Blue Mountain Scholar? Blue Mountain
God
Scholar.
Bless it. Janai.
Janai.
Janai is how I'm going to call you from now on.
Who is
Janai,
currently
what are you doing?
Disguised. Oh, well, in fact, my uncle is known for his forensic skills and has trained me in those. So I am now. Who in the family is here? It's just Yellow Shadow Hunter, right?
Well, most everybody has come out here out into the courtyard, of course, with the screams. Well, wait. I'm sorry, I was wrong. You don't see Sun Yang.
Well, no, we know he had disappeared.
Yeah, but everybody else is out
here. Is the daughter here?
Yes.
I think that there's a thing where Blue Mountain Scholar starts to go towards the body because, of course, this is what he's expected to do, and he catches sight of the victim's daughter, and he sort of turns around and he goes, honey, you should step away. And he will walk her over a little ways and sort of sit her down and sit next to her, and he will say, your family has been under some alarm for a while, yes?
Yes.
Can you tell me what your father thought was going to happen?
Hearts and minds.
All right. Let's see here. I think I haven't gotten used to my stats yet, so I apologize for the having to go look at what I've got here. This is probably water. Awareness, wisdom, flexibility. As best I have it. So it's a +1. So I'm going to roll 2d6 and add +1 to it. So it gives me an 8.
So I think she will give you just a little. Like it gives you, she says, beyond what my father said to you at dinner, I do not know more. Just that he feared that there was a threat upon him, and that this being the anniversary of the death of Dion Fee, that perhaps the same people who killed him would be coming after him. That he thought that perhaps Dion Fay had been killed because he had become too powerful, and perhaps that the same thing would be coming for him because he had gained too much influence.
All right. And you know, Blue Mountain Scholar will not. I do think I will take a study at this moment, if that's allowable.
Sure, let's do that, and then we'll go to
Yeah.
Bao Shi.
Okay. And I will use metal in this time, where it's calculation and reflection. I know that she's being careful, and I am curious what part of it is.
Sure.
So again, that gives me an 8.
Gives you an 8. You can choose one option from the list, or
Okay.
gain a clue with a cost.
I will take an option, I think, at this moment. I think she's, what shall I say? I think that was not exactly her father's fears. Let's put it that way. So, and I think I'm going to reveal a detail in a sense.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think that Blue Mountain Scholar will sort of nod and say, I see. So he was familiar with some of the motives of the ones who killed Fado, right?
Dion Fay.
Dion Fay. Yes. But essentially what he's saying is he was familiar with the people who killed Dion Fay.
And I think that will definitely get a reaction from her, like you're hitting at something that she has some suspicions about, but no confirmation, and she clams up pretty quickly after that.
All right.
Bao Shi, Green Mountain Scholar, takes the daughter aside. God damn it. This is my problem, is once I get the name wrong, I will get it wrong forever. So Zanai takes the daughter aside while you see that confrontation with Song Da and the King of Pearls, and Song Da drops these coins in your hand. What are you doing while all this is going on?
I have started moving forward as Song puts these. Oh, thank you, Mr. Song. Yes, and feeling the kind of weight to them. Very interesting. I move towards Yellow Shadow Hunter and the body, since I think he's over towards it.
Yes, he seems to be like he's clearly taking charge.
Now, I want to ask.
Yes.
We have a body, but we don't have the head, do we?
No.
And I will, as I move closer, I will say, everyone should stay back. I need to check this out without any interference. Yellow Shadow. And kind of motion him over as I squat down to look at the body and motion him to come down close to me.
We will bow, kind of looking at you seriously.
You are close. We're close with Master Sun.
He's my master. I am the first disciple. Of course I am close.
And we saw him go to his room. Did you accompany him there? Did you check that he made it there?
No, I did not.
I And as this is happening, I'm kind of looking over the body. I don't wish to be, and I'll kind of look around to make sure no one's close enough to hear us, drawing him in conspiratorially. I don't wish to be indelicate, but can you say for certain this is Master's son?
Let's have you make a study move here.
All right. I think this is going off of my... I think it's water. Awareness and wisdom here. Flexibility, that seems all to fit. Oof, that's a 6. I'm probably going to need to burn a bond on that.
What bonds do you have right now?
I have the captain, who I don't think I could fit that one well. I have Lost Songs and I have Iron Lotus, which I'm guessing Iron Lotus has not come down.
We'll assume that they are there. Just if you need to use the bond, you can do that.
I think I'll use the bond as Iron Lotus is keeping people back.
Okay. So do you want a question from the list or do you want a clue?
Oh. I think I want a clue.
All right. Then I think that he says, absolutely, this is my master. Absolutely.
How do you know that so certain?
Just I would know his appearance anywhere. I would. You see him kind of look at the body, raise the sleeve. These are his clothes. This is his, I can see that, yeah, definitely him. But you will note something out of the corner of your eye, and you kind of nod to him as he kind of turns back to the rest of the group, and you'll, much like your friend the historian did, you will reach over and see kind of in the grass near here a tiny pot that you will very carefully pick up and kind of take a quick whiff of it. It has an acrid smell to it. And you know what this is. This is tattoo remover.
Goodbye. I will pull out one of my scroll cases and kind of part his robes, lift maybe a sleeve, trying to see if I notice any discolorations or caustic burns, perhaps.
Well, this is one of those preparations that wouldn't leave burns, but I certainly think you can smell a similar odor on the body as is coming from this ungent pot.
I see.
Does that feel like a fair clue?
Yes, it does.
And Yellow Shadow Hunter will say, everyone should return to their rooms. I will have the servants up and searching about to see if there's anyone on the grounds that shouldn't be here. And you see him kind of narrow his eyes and then reluctantly say, and we'll have to leave this matter until the magistrates come in the hands of the detectives that my master invited. And you can tell that there's some rumbling, like amongst the crowd. Like, I don't think anybody here when you go to look around is like, yes, thank God there's a detective here. they're all like looking down, looking away, like they all have something to hide. And none of them are happy.
Is First Orchid here?
Yes.
And does she look unhappy?
Yes, she does.
Oh, does she?
Yes.
I will nod in her direction as if she is one of the group.
So they will head off. First Orchid kind of, there's that moment where you see First Orchid starts to go and then stops herself because she's been identified as a detective as well. And so she kind of walks over and kind of assumes the straight backed, fan in her hand, look, the thing very, trying to do this is yes. Ah, I see. Yes. But that gives a chance for the three of you to kind of talk to one another here.
Exactly. And, I will not cred check her at all.
Okay.
Let's see here. Okay. So we get another chance to go around.
Well, you three can talk to each other and then figure out
Okay.
how you want to proceed here.
Is it terribly awkward for us to move away from her, or should we sort of figure we're including her at the moment?
You have the sense that if you were to walk away from her and kind of leave her by herself, she would not have any objection. She is uncomfortable around the three of you.
Oh, okay.
At least now she is. Before she was calm, but now circumstances have changed.
Just say, and the thing that strikes me about this particular party is that almost everyone seems to have something to hide here. Wouldn't you say, First Orchid?
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
It is late. Some of us are morning people. Some of us, we work later on in the night. I think that it will take us working when we are at our best. So certainly if any of you are morning people, I am not. You should go ahead and go to bed. We will.
Thank you, Uncle. I will take advantage of that. I will join you to join our minds in the pursuit of justice tomorrow morning. But I will admit I am require my rest, and perhaps by then the magistrate will be here.
We certainly look forward to consulting with you more in the morning.
Yes, that is yes. And she will bow and take her leave.
Still like scribbling in his notebook and sort of muttering to himself as she's walking away. Not eager to investigate.
A couple of servants stay here to see to any of your needs. Like they'll do you want tea or water brought or anything of masters?
I will ask for tea.
And they will go, and essentially a couple of them will stay by just to. They're not keeping an eye on you. They're definitely here to do what they can. They are clearly bothered and maybe even a little scared that his murder has happened, and staying nearby you seems to be maybe the safest place in the house.
Indeed, we will not allow anything to happen to the servants. So, I guess the question that I will ask is, we had that whole group of people there. Was there anyone who was not there other than the son in the crowd after the screams?
No,
The
I think
son.
everyone else showed up.
Really? Okay. Including Undaunted Sedan?
Yes,
And did they say anything?
they said nothing.
Striking.
They did look like they cleaned up with themselves a little bit.
See, that's suspicious. The most suspicious thing. All right.
So you can share information, talk hypotheses, figure out where you want to go to next.
Blue Mountain, my dear friend, And I'll kind of give a little look at the historian, and there's the pondering moment of, should I be open in front of this person? And then there's the, of course, I'm fixing to solve this case, and it's absolutely important that this be recorded for history.
Absolutely.
So, kind of, and you, Mr. Song. Blue, I'm not entirely sure this is Master Sun.
Oh, that's the best news we've had all day. Though I feel bad for whomever it was that was sacrificed to take his place. Oh,
Mr. Sun, Master Sun, Mr. Val, what do you mean? What have you found?
I will pull out the little pot. Are you familiar? And I will open it and kind of waft it with this.
Some type of medicine?
Of a sort. It will extract the ink of tattoos. Tattoos being a very identifying thing on someone. And I will kind of reach and with my sleeve waft up from the body. You may note there's a bit of that odor on the body itself. Now, I would not say that Master Sun might not have an embarrassing tattoo that he perhaps wished to get rid of. I myself had a dolphin on my ankle at one time that was very unpleasant. But
Dolphin.
you don't have to write that down. But it would seem a strange decision to make this cosmetic change on this night now, wouldn't it?
Master Sun was well known to the Bureau. Perhaps I could send off to see if there are any records of him having a tattoo.
You certainly may, if you think we could get back information quickly.
I have ways.
I see. Well, you prove ever more useful, my dear historian friend.
Very perceptive.
Once I've gotten the drift of where this is going, I think that I'm actually going to go and take a look at to see, was the head chopped off here? Or was it like essentially the thing of single, just the kind of basic forensics?
Yeah.
The head taken here, was it carried away, or was it done somewhere else and the body dropped here, that kind of thing?
There is not enough blood that this is the site of the killing.
Okay.
And you can definitely determine that, a smooth, professional, absurdly wuxia sword stroke taking the head off. Because, of course, in real life, it's actually much harder to do.
Oh, yes.
But in wuxia, pop. But yeah, with skill, yes. A single stroke, body, person killed elsewhere.
Okay. So I guess the thing is that, here it is dressed in his clothes and sort of dropped here. Any sign from those clothes or a path around here from whence it was carried? Then I will start circling out there to go.
So that feels like we go to a study move. Okay.
This is terrible, but
Someone would have to be quite bold to decide to carry a decapitated corpse through the household to a garden.
yeah, unless it was already somewhere very close, like killed a while ago or something like that. But we will see.
Or
That
someone
is-
quite skilled with lightness, like the historian.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That you bring up, and
So I'm gonna roll 2d6 and add 1 again. This will be my Incredible. Oh, a 2, a 3. A 3.
Oh,
So that is a very bad roll, is it not?
It's the worst roll you could roll. It's 2 1s roll. It's like the fate saying, old man.
So I think that you will move around, trying to see if there are any tracks, but that's clearly been, someone's been very cautious. I mean, if anything, the absence of tracks here maybe suggests something. And that's the moment at which you kind of take that step off the path, by a little bridge that's by the garden thing. And part of the problem is the disguise that you're in changes your weight, changes your
Mhm.
center of gravity. And I think that's the moment at which your feet go out from under you and you fall into the pond.
Master! Master, oh dear, let me help you. Oh, Master, what has happened?
What do you do, Janai? Oh.
But I'm sure some of there is at least a short, high-pitched cry. Yeah, and then they go down and yes, how should I say this? They come up cartwheeling to keep you away. You know, their arms flung out just to keep the sort of
Oh,
prideful, awful
no,
old man.
if you just, oh, well, I can help you. No, if you would stop flailing, perhaps I could get a better handhold on you. Oh, ow, my face.
I'm going to have to fling myself deeper into the pond to get away from the helpful Sangda.
Let us take our break here because I've got a weird little like hiccuping with the internet. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, it's acting a little weird.
Yeah, let's take our first break. Let's take 10 here and give it a chance and see if it gets set. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna pause the recording then, and we'll come back in 10. Hello. So, if you're watching this, hopefully I've taped together the first part of this to this part, because during that break, Zoom decided that it was going to have none of it, which remarkably, that is the first time I've ever had that happen with Zoom. I have a paid account, so I assume there's some error up the stream in the cloud. The stream goes to the cloud, right? And then rain comes down. Isn't that
That's exactly how it works.
the photosphere or something like that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's a rain of bitcoins.
Yeah. That's how bitcoins are made.
Yes.
This game is an NFT. You're welcome.
Oh, God. Yeah, I got in trouble for an NFT tweet the other day. So, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so we are here, and where we left off, Blue Mountain Scholar had fallen into the pond, and Sangda stepped forward to assist Blue Mountain Scholar, but Scholar was having none of it and wheeled backwards, perhaps deeper into the water. Am I reading that right?
That's correct. Better to die than be revealed in a disguise.
So Sangda, Blue Mountain Scholar, you're not sure if it's age or awkwardness or something else has pushed themselves deeper into the pond, clearly and very clearly did not want to be pulled out of the pond by you.
Mr. Bao, come quickly. Master Scholar seems to be confused. I fear he'll hurt himself.
I'll kind of irritatedly stand up from the body and move over. Blue Mountain, what are you doing? There's no time for a swim.
Lol,
Yes.
I would like to attempt to salvage this moment by detecting while in the pond.
Please make a study roll.
Oh my God. All right, here we go. So 2d6 plus 1. 4 plus a 1 is 5.
Do you have bonds you wish to burn?
Holy smokes. I might have to just to, let's see here.
Oh, I believe you only have one bond to burn, but if someone were to assist you.
Bobsy. Oh no, Bobsy has left.
Abandoned you in your time of need.
Master Scholar, I can help you.
Let's give Tyler a second.
Okay.
See
Very
the sinister figure in my backdrop here.
They're hiding, sneaking in the shadows.
I'm so sorry. I ran to get a tissue.
Oh, okay.
so I rolled very badly, but sufficiently that if you were to assist me, I might actually manage to salvage this moment in the pond.
Then I will attempt to help you. That would be comfort and support.
Yes.
All right. So I roll with bonds, right? No.
You roll with a stat.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think this is probably maybe it might be that I'm becoming aware of what the problem here is.
It's penetrating the fact that you know your friend is in a disguise.
Yeah. So I'll roll with water.
Okay.
Appropriately
Very
enough.
funny, yes.
I rolled a 4 as well. That's a 5.
Oh no. Okay.
I literally rolled exactly what you rolled.
Oh, see.
So there is this moment where Vaushi, you kind of step forward to maybe offer some assistance to Blue Mountain Scholar. And Blue Mountain Scholar, you're trying to look around, and you do reach up maybe to take Baoshi's hand. And I think that's when your foot kind of hits on something, maybe a little bit sharp. And I think that you actually fall and yank Baoshi off of the shore into the water, and both of you are in the water.
Oh. Can it be one of those moments where we're in the water and we're like moving and can see us?
It's like perfectly clear, and both of you, it's like perfectly clear, and you point down and you can see that there is a sword, like part of a sword that is kind of clearly rusted and in the water there. And you'll kind of grab that up as both of you kind of come up out of the pond. And you can see that there is a blade that the corrosion and the rust is very clearly making this as a blade you would never use again. But besides that, you can see that this must have been a striking blade of remarkable craftsmanship. But someone has dropped it in the pond for years.
Yeah,
apparently.
some time ago.
That is a clue.
Oh, that was a hard-earned clue.
We
Yes, it
literally
was.
stumbled onto a clue.
I will read you the clue text.
That was all skill, Boshi.
Legendary sword left to rot in a pond. It is literally on my clue list.
All right, I will take it.
Donda.
I sort of like, I think the protestations and offers of help sort of slowly sputtered off at the inanity, and then they finally managed to stand up, and they seem to be like playing tug of war with some sort of sword between them. And you all right?
I would like to think that in unison we say, yes!
Yes, yes. And I will give a nasty side eye over to you, Lost Song, as I look down at my drenched robes.
Oh,
Has Master Blue Mountain Scholar finished with swimming then?
yes, it was never a problem. The pond is not deeper than I am tall.
I was not sure that you had realized.
I think we'll do that kind of hard cut where the servants arrive and they see you to rooms and clean clothing and all of that, and you're pleased because otherwise tonight I might have had the inner conflict role for you embarrassing yourself there in front of Songda. We'll put that on a little table over here for soon enough, as it were. But I think that you will get yourselves together, a little bit cleaned up. Songda probably were splattered by some of the water and mud there, and we will take up a little bit. Bao Shi, we take up now. It's probably, that was late at night. We're probably now early in the morning. You have changed clothes. All of you are set. And Bao Shi, one of the servants will come and say, Master Bao Shi, the magistrate is here.
Oh, which magistrate?
Magistrate Dalan.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How nice.
She and her guard arrived just a little bit ago.
Guard?
Yes.
Was a name given?
He was a guardsman, some sort of captain.
Well, I shall be down immediately.
What do you do, Bao Shi?
I begin hopping up, dressing up, putting myself together. I need to look dignified and proper and a little cute. My scroll cases into their proper place. My hair all ready and then I will head down.
So you take your time to do that. Blue Mountain Scholar, Songda, you are also informed that Magistrate Dalan and Guard Captain Lin are here.
It is no problem. I have been up all night making sure that my beard has dried properly, recombing the long mustache, getting the sleeves cleaned out of all the mud so that, yes, it's been a thing. So,
and Songda?
I mean, it's disappointing that someone so uncouth and clumsy as a magistrate would wander their way into the fine world of the Wulin, but I suppose I'm looking forward to seeing how Bao Shi masterfully puts this common magistrate in their place to show the true artistry that must be applied to matters of the Wulin.
And I think the three of you will arrive, from your rooms in the front courtyard, and you will see Magistrate Dalan, who Bao Shi you are very familiar with. Behind her are two people, Guard Captain Lin, and you will see the Blue Mountain Sentinel is there as well. And he sees you, Blue Mountain Scholar, and he says, cousin?
Blue Mountain, and I pause, Sentinel, the way that my uncle always said it.
Which is like one tear down from Scholar there.
Exactly.
I was working with Magistrate Delon on a case in town when word reached us, and Magistrate Delon does this thing where she goes and cuts him off.
And I bow to her. Yes.
I had word that you were involved in some sort of case, Baoshi, and that you had sought out the expertise of Blue Mountain Scholar to help you.
Indeed, it is very nice to see you, Magistrate. I'm sure that whatever you bring to this will be of some help.
Certainly. As I said, Captain Lin, I know Baoshi of old. I've seen his many successes and failures.
Considerably more of the first, I would imagine. Guard Captain, nice to see you as well.
Good to see you.
It has been too long.
And she definitely kind of, as you all kind of move in, you see her stop, and she whispers something to Guard Captain Lin. Could I please have you roll inner conflict?
Let's see here. What would I roll that with? Oh. Is that patience or is that caution? That's control. So I think I'm rolling with metal to keep myself from overreacting to this. Ooh, I got an 11.
You keep yourself absolutely together. You get to mark XP.
Ooh, lovely.
But you keep yourself together. And Magistrate Delon does say, I take it that you three, and she clearly has now assumed that Song Da is with you, have begun your investigations?
Absolutely, yes.
And she says, I'm very glad to see a representative from the Bureau of Legends here. I hope that you will keep your two associates on their toes.
Yes, of course. Delon Target.
Yes. Well, I will be conducting my interviews. You have my permission to continue your investigations, and certainly we can share discoveries a little later on. How about?
You are too kind. Thank you very much.
Yes. And she'll turn to Blue Mountain Sentinel and she says, you are here as a guest, not as an investigator, given that your senior is here. And you can see that there's some tension between the two. And if you may recall last time, that was what Iron Lotus did, was plant that seed of tension that is now bearing fruit. And he looks very irritated and will bow, and is clearly, you have the sense he is going to be skulking about, possibly getting in your way, possibly trying to overhear what you're doing. But Magistrate Delon begins the very classic get them and start doing interviews and statements individually kind of thing. And she will bow and she'll say, I'll get the basic statement from everyone and then I'll speak with the three of you. And when the three of you turn, you see that, like, in various rooms and doorways and things like that, all the rest of the people are kind of like watching to hear who these people are, what's going on, all of that. And Mao Ching will be the first to kind of step up to where the three of you are after the magistrate goes, and she'll say, I take it we still can't leave?
Very much the magistrate is set on no one taking their leave yet.
All right.
If you don't mind me asking, since, well, the magistrate will be most thorough in her questioning, between us, did you happen to see anything when you left the feast? You left before everyone else. You might have had the greatest opportunity to have noticed something. Any little thing could be a help.
This feels like a steady move. Like you're kind of moving into that kind of interrogation of her, pushing a little on her.
Okay, doke. I think this is probably going off of curiosity. This is wood. That's an 8. That's not bad.
That's an 8. Would you like to ask a study question, or do you want a clue?
Let me look at the study questions again real quick. Just to see if that might help. Because I'm going to get a cost on this clue if I don't, or if I get it.
Yeah, but you can. I mean, you already know kind of what the cost is going to be. Is her kind of being a little bit alienated,
Okay.
from you.
Yeah, let's get the clue.
Okay, then I think there is that bit where she looks around. She clearly doesn't want to talk to you, and if anything, you kind of directly questioning her kind of confirms her suspicions. And though you do see her rack her brain, like she's clearly got something on her mind, you can tell that. She says, "I know." And then she stops and she says, "Well, there was one thing. I left early, as you know. I went back to my rooms, but discovered that my thirst had not been yet quenched. And so I made my way to the kitchens and to where the wine jugs were stored.
I see.
And I saw a number of jugs of a fine vintage, and I took one of those. But when I got back to my room and undid the seal, that was not wine of good vintage. I mean, it was passable wine, but not anything of the quality that was certainly said on the seal.
I see. That is very unusual. Thank you very much. As I said, any small detail can help weave the tapestry of the truth.
Oh, I know how you weave a tapestry. A rope, a hangman's rope. That's what you detectives do. And she will turn and leave like.
I swear she has kind of a bit of a disposition against me.
Against all of our kind. Do not take it personally, Bashi.
She must have overindulged on the wine last night. I imagine her head is feeling a bit fogged.
2 things strike me. A, it seems odd that a woman of such high station would go herself to the kitchens to abscond with wine.
She's a woman of the Wulin. They do as they wish.
The second is her mentioning of a wine of inferior quality labeled as better. Such obfuscation would imply either a household less stable than it wishes to appear, or that someone has altered for a purpose I have not yet ascertained. The cellars of the house.
those, or someone has cheated the host.
Possibly, yes. The wine we were served was passable, good.
Certainly the first few cups were. After that, I am no judge.
Huh. Well, before you decided on our nightly swim,
Good for the health.
yes, old friend, I had hoped to take a look and see if the wound on the neck showed a rather longer time than would have been the more immediate wound of his death by the time scale we have. Now I think it is probably unlikely to detect. This sword, however, do you still have it, Blue?
Of course I do, but it's, I would put it more on the decade stage of being in that pond. Sandazo, you may have resources that would help us identify which sword this is. And, I think Blue Mountain Scholar will draw it out of his sleeve. It's sort of preposterous, long robe sleeves.
Perhaps. Are there any identifying marks on it? It's so rusty, it's hard to tell.
Oh, yes. I know Bladeslow. I will show him what the identifying marks are, what stands out for a blade person.
Let me have you roll a study roll. And this is aiming for a question rather than a clue.
This is me or
This is Sangda.
Sangda?
I think we'll go with Earth. This is focusing in on the small details. It's a metal sword, so. That's a 7.
That's a 7. So I have a question. Do you want me to tell you the proventure of the sword, or do you want to tell me the proventure of the sword?
I think I'd rather you for this one.
Well, then I think that you'll be able to identify this not as the sword of Dion Fay, but one of the swords of his 3 disciples. You may recall that Fiande and his 3 disciples were all killed 15 years ago. And of course, this is, again, the anniversary of that murder. And this is one of the swords of one of those fallen disciples.
Interesting. Say, this is odd. This is the sigil of one of the students of the fallen Fadion.
So either his weapon was hidden there, perhaps by Sun Guo or Liu, or perhaps by the disciple himself. We've already had someone disappear themselves, pretending to be dead.
And, well, do we know where they fell? Was it in this area?
Oh yes, absolutely. This was the region that the Green Leaf Society had their holdings.
This is still strange. If the 2 of you will excuse me, I should go send off for some deeper information. And I will ask about Master Soon's tattoos if he had.
Thank you very much.
So let's, Blue Mountain Scholar, let's see what you're doing investigation-wise, and then we'll kind of do the once around.
Sure. I think that one of the things is because Mao Ching has been helpful. I don't think that she would have stepped away, even though she's suspicious. She's still sort of a little bit more involved and a little bit more curious now. So I think that I'll actually step over to her and say, Lady Ching, many of these things are particularly unfortunate, but the thing that strikes me as most unfortunate is the disappearance of young Sun Yang.
You suspect him?
I would not. But unfortunately, his disappearance makes it more important that we locate him.
I have been looking for him this morning. I have not yet been able to locate him, but this house is large and it has changed since I was here last.
I believe a misfortune has befallen him.
I do not disagree.
Then let us help each other in finding him at least.
And she'll kind of nod. Do you want to search the grounds then? Is that your move?
Yes.
Let's have you roll study.
Oh, come on, dice. All right, sorry. I'll do this.
So let me pause here. One of the mechanisms that we have in classic Brindlewood Bay are the keys. It's not something I brought over. But I think what I'm going to do is we'll add this to the sheet. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to add a sort of a keys mechanism just for study rolls to allow you to mark one of the keys to bump up your success level by 1.
Okay.
And we'll probably do them as kind of a flashback or something like that. So I think that's a mechanism we're going to put into play, just so that we can, have that, because we've had a lot of bad study rolls and constantly having to pay costs, given the structure. I don't think is a great way, and we can get that going.
Okay.
So what do you want to roll with?
I think that what I want to roll with is, because I have said to her that finding this young man is important, that I will actually roll my style, which I don't usually do for that.
All right.
But so that's Earth, which is caution, focus, and presence. So I'm adding 2, rolling 2d6 and adding 2. So I get a 6, that gives me an 8. But this would be a good time.
Do you want to?
Yeah, let's try a key.
Okay.
So
one of the things the keys do in Brindlewood Bay is they give us a chance to kind of get a flashback to something of your past. So what is it that we see? What is this? I mean, it's an off topic, but if you may recall, if you've ever seen the terrible show Kung Fu, there's that moment where he goes and looks at things, and then he has a flashback to his training or his experience or that kind of thing. I think that's the kind of maybe flashback that we're considering here. So what do we flash back to?
I think we've flashed back to my granduncle's house, and you see Janai, and she's sort of in the kitchen. She's putting together, like she's made some tea, and she goes to carry it out to her uncle, and she actually finds him sort of weeping, and he has a letter in front of him, and she sits down and she gives him his tea, and and essentially you can see that like she's been serving as his caretaker in a lot of ways here in these later years. And she sort of holds his hand and says, "What's Uncle? How can I help you?" And she looks at the letter in front of him, and it's just a poem. And she goes, "Is it the beauty of the poem?" And he sort of looks at her and he goes, "No." And he tells her about a mystery where this was a clue and that he didn't get it in time, and that there was a young boy that was held captive that died because they couldn't find him before, and essentially, so it's that sort of thing of him weeping and feeling bad, horrible about this thing that happened, and her just sitting there and being helpless except to sit with him while he went through that.
And I think that Blue Mountain Scholar, that occurs to you, and you go and you're sort of in the back part of the house, and out of the corner of your eye, you see this cart and this oxen. And you flash back to Bao and Arnold's telling you about that. You notice that the driver doesn't seem to be around. No one seems to have fed the oxen, but there are no coffins on the cart. The cart is empty.
Where are the coffins?
You will walk about a bit, and you kind of make your way through some tangle brush to looks like there's maybe a back further part of the house where there's a shrine, and as you kind of walk back there, you'll see that there's a space there, and someone has clearly put some brush over to conceal it, but you can see that those 4 coffins are there concealed under the brush.
Oh. So I haven't established this yet, but I think that there's something about she knows. Blue Mountain Scholar does not consider himself a hero in any way, shape, or form. And so when he finds something alarming, he takes, like, he has a belt that he wears around his robe, and it has like a bauble at the end of it. You see him pick it up, and he pulls some paper out of it, and it's actually a bell, and he starts ringing it.
And Mao Ching will kind of grab at that and stop you, and she goes, "What are you doing?"
She goes, I would have witnesses for this.
I am your witness. And she strides forward to start pulling up the lids on the coffins.
And Blue Mountain Scholar will go to assist.
Pries off the first one, empty. Pries off the second one, empty. Pries off the third one. Well, here's our oxen driver. And like now Mao Ching's maybe bravery has kind of gone down as you both look at the 4th coffin. And she'll walk over to it. She looks at you.
I'll help her lift the lid.
And she lifts the lid, and you will see a body in there. And you can see Yellow Shadow Hunter.
What?
You can see the marks around his neck where he's been choked to death. That's your clue.
Thank you, Lo.
What are you up to, Bao Shi? Kind of doing the once around. We can either connect with that, or we can do another thing that's happening at the same time.
I would like to find Starry Garden.
Okay. That seems, well, let me make sure I've got marked down the clue that I did here.
Mhm.
Yes, concealed coffins. There we go. So you will find Starry Garden. He is there. He's kind of keeping an eye on where the magistrate is doing the interviews. And he will come over to where you're at when you kind of meet his eye. And he says, Honored Baushi, he's a little more deferring than perhaps he was earlier.
Master Starry Garden, have you had a chance to speak with the magistrate yet?
No, he has not yet interviewed me. She has not yet interviewed me.
Well, yeah.
What about you? Has she spoken with you?
We've exchanged words, yes. I imagine that I will be more formally interviewed sometime later. If you don't mind, perhaps shall we walk and talk a moment?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Let's do that.
And we'll begin kind of walking away from the magistrate. And I'm not one to eavesdrop, but I did notice you were rather surprised at your invitation to this this unfortunate soiree.
I was, yes.
Did you know Master Sun well?
I knew him of old. I had worked with him in the past.
Ah, I see. However, oops, sorry. Lady Mao, you know her quite well.
Yes, I had thought that Lady Mao had invited me. I owe her a debt, and I came at her behest.
Mm-hmm. But it was a ruse, apparently, yes?
Yes, it was.
It is, I have to say, our former host seemed to be courting disaster, almost asking for something to go poorly. While I clearly you would have no ill intent, many of the people here did, and on such an unfortunate anniversary as well.
Why don't you make a study roll?
All right. How about my connections by tracing shadow?
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Let's start with that, and then maybe we can move to a study move from there. How's that sound?
That sounds lovely. So I think that I'm trying to be. Let's see. I'm trying to wheedle out here. I'm doing my due diligence, I think, on all this. So let's go with water there. All right. That's a 7. Well, this die roller's not been great.
It has not. So you are going to be able to take +1 forward on Hearts of Minds with him after this, and he is clearly aware that you are prodding him.
Mm-hmm.
And while he doesn't give the specifics, there is a thing he says that there are things I've done in my past that I am not proud of. And like others here, And you can tell he's clearly talking about Mao Ching, maybe others beyond that. I did some of those things at the behest of Sun Guan Yu.
I see. And I think I'm going to try and make a little leap here to push him. So when I do this study,
Yeah.
as I say, did it have to do with the Greenleaf disciples who escaped?
That's actually hard to mind, I think, if you want to push this on.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is hard to mind.
All right. Well, good. I get a +1 on that.
Yeah. I think it's the logical step for this sequence here.
Yeah. And I think that is going off my bell. That's control calculation.
Yeah.
That's all of that. So, all right. Come on. Roll well. That's a 10.
We were assigned to kill one of the disciples. Myself, Mao Ching. There were 2 others with us. They have since passed on some time ago. But I know that, and it kind of looks around, I know that there are others who are here who are also tasked in that.
I see.
I'm not proud of what I did, but in my youth, I was ambitious. I have learned the price of ambition. And certainly, Sun Guan Yu has held this over me for some time. He has proof that I committed the crime, but I have no proof that he gave the order.
Well, and now he's gone.
It would seem that way. It would seem that this has turned out to my benefit.
It would seem that way, yes.
I am not the only one who would benefit from Sun Guan Yu's death.
I have no doubt of that.
You will excuse me, I must check to see if Magistrate Delon is ready to speak with me.
Of course, thank you. I have enjoyed our conversation.
I will tell you in all honesty, I have not.
Yeah. That is sadly often the case.
Nice. Song Da.
So Da is going back to his rooms to write a brief note asking for details about, the identifying physical characteristics about Sun Guan Yu and any connections that any of the 3 deceased disciples of Fei Dion may have had to the House of Sin before their untimely deaths. And I pull out a small, black cage and take out a gray pigeon from it and tie the note around its leg and poof, let it off in the air.
And in true a series fashion, you will get a reply in your next scene kind of thing.
Nice. So I think while Daz is waiting for that information to come back, he's wandering through, taking notes of things around the villa here, and I'd like to maybe run across one of the younger Soons.
Certainly, the only one who is around is Sun Zheng.
All right, that is fine. I wasn't sure if Yang was still.
At least as far as you know, he is not yet returned. You will.
Yeah, where do I find her?
She is in the hall where you were essentially first came and had your audience with Sun Guan Yu. She's clearly looking over some papers as you come in, and definitely moves to roll some of them up as you approach, but leave some of them out there. And she will say, you are Song Da of the Bureau of Legends, correct?
Yes, young mistress. I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to introduce myself before the horrible tragedies of the night.
You are working with the detectives?
Yes, to my great delight, I'm having the chance to work in person and close up to the legendary Bao Shi. Your mistress, you should put your mind at ease. He will ferret out the truth of this matter. Don't doubt it.
I certainly hope so.
How have you and your brother been holding up since last night? Must have come as a terrible shock.
I cannot speak for my brother as he is nowhere to be found. But for myself,
I had noticed he had been scarce.
yes, I'm sure the magistrate will have noticed by this point as well. For my own part, my father taught me to prepare for adversity and the unusual, and she'll stand and kind of like moves to walk as she's talking here a little bit. She says to be prepared to deal with any situation that arises, take whatever steps are necessary.
Of course. Your father, he said that he expected this sort of thing. Surely he must have shared some sort of suspicion.
As I told your colleague, the Blue Mountain Scholar, he was circumspect. If he had a specific thought beyond that this was someone part of the party that had murdered the late Dion Fay, coming for him now, but beyond that, I could not say.
I see. Well, I would like you to know I am, of course, here at your service should you need anything or should you need anyone. The Bureau does have contacts anywhere, and I understand that you'll want to have a funeral for your father soon, but if there's anyone you think should be here for that.
I will keep that in mind. Do you want to make a study roll observation-wise here? See what you can pick up? Or do you want to potentially push on your historian move?
Oh, I do want to get a historian move off of her. Yes. I think fire is appropriate. There's
okay.
The creativity and the passion for, like, I don't think his words are coming off fake. He's trying to seem like, because he really is interested in the solemnity, the ceremony of the situation, her grief and how it should properly be handled. It's a 9.
Do you want to burn a bond?
Yes. Not sure how that would help them.
Pardon?
I'm not sure how that would help, though.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you burn a
Minus
bond, I'll give
this-
you something good.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, if you've got a way that a connection with Iron Lotus could help here.
You can. She says, I know that you and Iron Lotus are perhaps in the shadow of the detectives. I myself have been in the shadow of my father, but now I am, with his passing, head of this school. And I hope that I know that I have seen my rankings, and the writing of me is but a student, but a shadow. That I'm barely noted. I hope that. And she will stop, and she kind of does that kata, and that's not the right word for it, but the performs the form, and you'll see her like whip this scroll out and like uses it to extinguish a candle, and then whips it back, and then whips it out again, and then brings it back. And then you see her like gesture and does this thing with her hand, and from a distance, like extinguishes another candle, but she kind of pulls her hand back. And you realize that the first thing that she did with the scrolls is her like this thing from her school, from her father's teaching. That's part of one of the techniques. But this last thing that she did, you're like, you've seen that before, and that is not an orthodox style. That is a corrupt style.
Oh. Well, I will try and swallow the surprise there and say, I had incorrectly assumed that the young master would be taking over his father's school, but obviously, the young mistress, excuse me, the mistress will be taking over the
Yes.
school. Your mastery of the form is obvious.
And she seems relieved that perhaps you did not notice that gaffe on her part. But possession of a corrupt form can stand as a clue here.
If the mistress will excuse me, I will be needing to make some revisions to my notes so that once I leave and share them with the Bureau, things can be properly arrayed for the school of Silver going forward.
Yes. And if there's anything that you require, anything that I can do to assist the Bureau of Legends, to demonstrations, or perhaps if you need transport back or supplies for your journey, I can provide those.
Of course, Mr. Sim. You're too kind.
I do not wish to corrupt the
backing
process.
out.
Okay. Let's cut back to Blue Mountain Scholar. Oh, look, a corpse.
And I do think that Blue Mountain Scholar steps back and says, "Good, he's not here." Just to kind of catch Mao Xing's.
Oh.
And she goes, "So we will continue looking, but we'll make sure the magistrate has this."
She says, "This corpse is cold."
Yes, whoever Yellow Shadow Hunter was last evening was not Yellow Shadow Hunter.
What do you want to do, Janai?
I think that I will ask Mao Qing to stay with me as I turn over sort of formally this evidence to the magistrate for them to handle. This is a set of things for them to follow up on.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense, and will keep them busy.
Absolutely.
And sort of demonstrate that this is that that's what they're doing as a distraction so that we can continue looking for the sun, if that makes any sense.
Do you wish to make a study roll dealing with this this corpse and these coffins?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But I will. That's part of the demonstration to the magistrate. So hopefully I can do this.
So there'll be a thing, Bao Shi, Song Da. You certainly hear there's some turmoil, and you see Magistrate Delan and the captain kind of rush towards the back of the house, and they will arrive, and she is stunned by the presence of these coffins.
Yes, and I simply note
She
that.
says, are these the coffins that were brought by the man subject to the whims of the raccoon?
I believe so. Indeed, this poor unfortunate, I point to him, does seem to bear resemblance to Bao Shi's story.
Yeah. And she says, but this is, wait. If
Yes,
this
someone
is
ordered coffins.
if this is Yellow Shadow Hunter, then who greeted me when I first arrived?
A fine question. I also am curious.
Now let's have you make that roll.
All right. So I will add +1. So I am using water, I believe, again. Oh my God. Ah. Shoot. Let's see. What are the rules with the keys here?
Essentially, you have 6 keys. You've used one of them.
Is it 6 keys for the whole series or 4?
Yes.
Oh my God. I will use one again just because, just because I want to get this straight here. God, that is so terrible. Okay. Yeah, so I will raise myself up to a decent study.
So to taking that to a 7 and 9, is that what you're going to?
Yes.
Then I think that, well, I'll have you give me the flashback in a moment, but I think that you are looking at the coffins, and you will see that there are some papers tucked away in the coffin, and you reach and you pull them out and you kind of look at them, and you will see these are hand-drawn sketches of Undaunted Zedong, Starry Garden, Mao Ching, King of Pearls, Sun Guan Yu, Sun Yang, Yellow Shadow Hunter, Bao Shi, Blue Mountain Scholar, and Cheng Rogong. And you're like, oh, you're kind of looking through them, and that's the point at which the magistrate reaches out and goes, snatch! And gets them out of your hand before you can examine them more closely.
And I will bow to the magistrate as if she's won and says, I will stop by later to look a little bit closer.
Bao Shi Songda, if I may, you would have followed in the wake of the magistrate's rush, and you will see Blue Mountain Scholar coming away from these 4 coffins, 2 of them occupied, and the magistrate is clearly now looking into things, and Blue Mountain Scholar can come over to you to explain what the situation is.
And I do, with a blah.
Oh, blah, you say?
Carefully edited because Mao Ching is here, so it's not,
These pictures, these drawings
a fairly good skill.
of the guests, was anyone missing?
The family themselves.
3 people are missing. The White Monk, First Orchid, and Sun Zhang.
Was Song Da in there?
Song Da was not in there. but you were not expected.
Yeah, I was just trying to like gauge when they were drawn.
Interesting.
Now, by the way, just to tell you where you're at, you now have 7 clues.
And remind me again of the process for solving a mystery.
The process for solving the mystery is once you have at least clues equal to the difficulty, we enter into a thing where the 3 of you will come together to come up with a solution that in some way, shape, or form integrates each of those clues, even if you say, this is a red herring because of this. And if it doesn't have to like definitely fit into the thing, but it has to at least be in your explanation. And then you will roll on the hypothesize or the theorize move. When heroes have open freewheeling discussion. And on a 10 plus, it's correct solution. 7 to 9 is correct, but there's some complication. Basically, you'll be rolling because you've got 7 clues and the difficulty is 7. You'll be rolling with a flat 0. For each one up to another 3, you'll get a +1 to that roll. So you can still gather more clues.
I suggest we do, considering how the roller is going.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Master Song, have you had contact with your society?
I'm still waiting on a reply, but I should have some more information.
We get stock footage of a pigeon, and then we see it kind of fall into frame where you're at.
Yeah, and Dahl will like raise his arm out of frame, and then when it comes down, suddenly there's a bird like calmly sitting on it. He'll grab around the leg and unroll the scroll there.
And it will say 2 important facts for you. Will confirm that it is believed that Sun Guanyu had no tattoos, and that's confirmed by recent studies. But it will also mention that regarding your question about the 3 students of Faye Dion, that one of them that they believe was killed, but they never found the body, by the name of Winter Willow, was known to be quite close to Sun Guanyu. And you may take that as a clue. You are muted, Baoshi.
It may be of some use for us to look at Master Sun's quarters, and I'll kind of look over at Madame Mao there, and or I am presuming that you and Blue Mountain were looking about for something?
For the young master.
Ah, yes. Fortunate that he wasn't a coffin.
I spoke to Mr. Sun, and she has not seen her brother either.
Well, that does not speak well of his innocence, I must say.
or it speaks excellently of his innocence.
In that case, it would not speak well of his safety.
Correct.
Where would you suggest, Blue Mountain, that we look further?
And Blue Mountain will give you a list of all the places that they have looked. I am sure that you will think of others. I and Lady Chi will continue our search.
I must ask, before you leave, Master Blue Mountain Scholar, Mr. Bao, when the two of you were taking your recreational swim, did you perhaps notice anything else at the bottom of the lake? Something like bones?
I did not. I
Nor
stepped on
did
the
I.
sword, and that was foremost in my mind.
The water was remarkably clear, though, so we might have noticed had they been there.
Fair. The sword, I believe, belonged to Winter Willow, one of Fei Diong's 3 disciples, but their body was never actually found. They were simply written in as dead because their master and the other 2 had all been found dead.
I'm going to be watching Madame Mao, considering the information I have, to her reaction to that.
She does her eyes narrow. She's like, clearly the news that the body was never found is a thing that like surprises her. Like she's like, I was not aware that there was a possibility that he survived.
Winter Willow was all right.
Well, I shan't interrupt your continued search, and if you'll excuse me, Master Song, would you care to accompany me?
Oh, yes, of course, Mr. Bao.
So, Bao, what do you want to do?
I am going to head to Master Sun's quarters.
Okay. And we see you go there. The servants, there's maybe like a couple of the servants are like maybe start to do that thing where they're going to stop you, and then they kind of.
Please feel free to observe. I have no intent, of course, to pilfer anything.
Let's have you make a study roll.
Yeah. All right. This is. Oh, let's see. I think this is water. This is awareness, and yeah, that seems to be the thing there. All right, so going with water. This is an 8. Let me think here. Is it worth turning a key? I love turning keys just because I love flashbacks.
Yeah.
I think I'll turn a key to take this one on up.
Okay. What's your flashback here?
I think we get a look as I'm moving around the quarters, and we see, I open up a wardrobe, and there's the fine robes, and I'm moving across these lovely things, and we kind of see this transition to a much younger Bao. And as I'm looking through this wardrobe, and we see an older man come in, and Bao, what are you doing? And, Father, I was trying to determine where you've been these last several days. I was thinking that perhaps I could discover by going through your clothing, and it seems here that you have several seeds of a grass that is only found to the south. And I noticed here that there is a small, well, a quite large spillage of wine. From the smell, I would guess that it is several days old. Father, is it possible that you were visiting? And I think we see a hand reach down and grab Bao by the shoulder. This is not what you should be doing, son. Out of my rooms. All of this curiosity will only get you into trouble. Why aren't you more like your brothers? None of them have any sort of curiosity at all, and that's how I like it.
And I think we cut to you kind of looking through the personal things. There's the copper mirror that's there. There are some unguents and things, skin smoother, some stuff to keep up. But I think the thing that will strike you as you are looking through this is kind of concealed away, is another jar that it's clearly kind of tucked off to the side, and you'll kind of lift it up and take a sniff, and you will get lightheaded. And you can tell that this is some kind of sleeping draught. It's been consumed. These are just the dregs of it, but it certainly would be strong enough to put a man out.
And then the draught was hidden away rather than sitting, say, next to a bed.
Correct.
Is that a clue?
That is a clue.
Well. Master Song, I tend to believe that we have come very close to solving this case. I have a theory.
I think pulls out his notebook and has his inkwell authority. I've only heard about these moments.
Not quite yet. I suggest we find Blue Mountain Scholar and see if he has discovered anything else. But together, I believe we can crack this case.
Blue Man Scholar, is something you want to do before we bring the crew together to talk?
Yeah, I think the thing that you see is probably Blue Mountain Scholar and Mao Ching stepping into Yellow Shadow Hunter's rooms.
Okay.
In the school, and essentially looking there, if that makes any sense.
Let's have you make that study roll.
It is. All right. I'm just gonna add +2 just to give myself a chance of just a plain legit success. It gets me to 8, so that's great.
Get you to 8.
Yes.
So I do think that maybe you find a piece of cloth that has some blood on it that might be Sun Yang's, and I think that's when you kind of lose Mao Ching in it, assisting. Like, this clearly pains her, but you will continue to look around, and and you will find here in the room a pile of like translucent snake skin that you kind of been taking, and you kind of look at it, and you will realize that while it's been torn up, this is the materials that are used for essentially making very skillful face masks to disguise oneself. It's a difficult technique, but you've heard of it, and it's clearly this has been recently shredded.
All right, so that's a clue.
That's a clue.
All right, I will bring this to them. We still haven't found the sun, but we know mostly what's going on.
Bao Shi Songda, Blue Mountain Scholar, returns, though Mao Qing is not with him.
We've got 11 minutes. Do you want us to go blah, blah, blah? Or does it take a little bit longer to talk through this?
If you guys want to talk out your theorize, I'm good with that.
All right. I think it's pretty clear that it was Sun Guanyu who was masquerading as Yellow Shadow Hunter, so we know who the first person was to die. Translucent snakeskin. Do you think that the sleeping draught is his son did catch him before he started all of this, and he probably knocked him out, but we haven't found him yet? That seem reasonable, those pieces?
Tyler.
Yeah.
I have the thought that the son has probably been sent away. I think I agree with you that Master Sun probably is still alive. The only thing I might worry about, and it's simply that the body we found is the son.
Did he have tattoos?
We don't know, but it wouldn't shock me over much if he did. However, the killing of his own son seems awfully harsh. But my guess is that there was the confrontation. The father would have either decided to take the opportunity and killed the son and place him as the dead body, or told the son to flee and plan to meet up with him once this is done. My general thought is that the reason of the fake death was to try to lure out the missing disciple. The green leaf.
Winter Willow.
Yes, Winter Willow. Who I tend to believe might be the monk.
Interesting.
Master Song, you have been most diligent in your recording of everything. I would be delighted to hear any thoughts you might have.
Oh, I'm sure that I couldn't compare to your deductive skills in this sort of matter. I have many notes here if you'd like to refer to them.
May I? And Blue Mountain Scholar would happily take your book and look through that and go. So the sketches. The interesting thing there, if you're going to have someone make those masks for you, you would need those. So we found a translucent snakeskin that may have been what was left of the masks or was gathered in order to have the masks made.
Then would not the theoretical Sun Guanyu still be wearing His mask? Why would he need drawings to make a mask of his own servant?
Which servant of yellow thing? If he needed someone else to make them for him, to have them made for him. Not that he made them, but that someone else made them.
So,
Notice that the mask pieces were left in Yellow Shadow Hunter's room.
so Sun Guan Yu, trying to lure out this disciple, invited people that might be this disciple, killed someone, knew who he was having, and had masks made up of various people. That's what the sketches are about.
Yes.
That accounts for a lot of things.
Yes.
So there are three things that theory doesn't account for and doesn't answer a basic question on.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So, and those are Sun Zheng's corrupt form,
Yes.
the wine,
Yes.
and the I Ching coins,
Yes.
and whose body is the first body?
So I think one of the things that's interesting is we don't. Yeah. So I was thinking with the I Ching coins, with those weighted, that would have been to give someone who was using them a portent, right? I think that Sun Zheng and perhaps someone else that she was working with, like First Orchid, that they had a plot to actually kill her father. So essentially look at it this way. They set it up so that when he went to the shrine to begin his things, he would do like he always did, the I Ching, and he would get a bad fortune. And then when they had the chance, they would try to kill him when they found him.
Okay. And the wine? Bao Shi, do you have an idea on that?
I believe that the wine, I believe that the King of Pearls probably arranged to sell this at a high markup, and that his inclusion here is really just to bring him dishonor, to be a part of all of this, to embarrass him being a part of this whole thing.
Well, and the threat, because he was probably involved in the other murders.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't quite cohesive, but we're getting close.
Who is the body? Is it the sun? Is it the monk? Is it somebody else?
Have we seen the monk about?
The monk is about, but
How about Undaunted Zedong?
Yellow Shadow Hunter is not about anymore, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But we found Yellow Shadow Hunter's full body in the...
Yeah, in the coffin.
And it's been dead for longer than since we've seen Yellow Shadow Hunter.
I'm a little afraid that the dead body is the sun.
The other possibility, based on what the two of you have already said, is that that in fact the body is the monk, and Sun Guan Yu has done a couple of swaps.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
because
Since
one of the
this.
pictures is not there.
What is your theory? It would mean that Sun Guan Yu murdered the monk, and then later took the monk's identity, and then later killed Yellow Shadow Hunter, and kind of swapped identities with him, and has kind of been moving back and forth.
All right. So, oxen cart brings the coffins, which he thought was secret. He has his pictures. He's gotten his masks. This is just a place for him to dump the stuff as he's going.
Oxcart's driver is killed by strangulation.
Right. As a
Which-
shadow hunter.
As his shadow hunter, which I will say, I believe that I ascertained that the monk, the weapon that seemed to be most capable, or that he seemed most available, was his beads, which had a certain weaponized aspect to them.
They were very heavy, weren't they?
Mhm.
Mhm. Almost like Ebola.
Yeah. So, but the strangulation looked like a leather strap. So
I think I named it as strangulation. I don't think I gave any details beyond
okay.
that.
Ah, okay. Good. Well, then, okay. So he turned into the monk first, or he turned himself into Yellow Shadow Hunter after he killed his own disciple, took his role, then has swapped between the two as needed since then?
Did we ever at the feast? We did see Yellow Shadow Hunter with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he was the monk for a while.
Well,
then
we saw the monk with him as well.
No,
So
well,
clearly after that,
yeah, he killed.
either a Yellow Shadow Hunter or the monk is the body,
Mhm.
and he then swapped and then took the other identity at some point.
But we know it's not Yellow Shadow Hunter because his body's in a coffin,
Yes. So it has to be the monk by process of elimination
or the sun.
or the sun. Which is it?
What you think, Patrick's?
I am lost at this point.
He's certainly gone back and forth between the two things at different times. So we will say that currently he's in the guise of the monk.
I don't understand why any of this is happening.
It's because Sun Guan Yu has spent too much time thinking it through. So what we've got is an overthought plan, and his son got in the way, and he's done something to get him out of the way.
Yeah, because we're basically making it up whole cloth and seeing
Right, no,
it
that's-
yeah.
No, I understand the mechanical process. I just don't understand the theory.
Yeah, I don't know why he's doing it either.
Well, what would be his reason? Is it a question of him wanting to draw out the lost disciple? Is it that Yellow Shadow Hunter is the lost disciple and he's killing him off to cut off that? You know, there was certainly mention that he's afraid of perhaps the son of Fian Di returning, and now we're at that 15-year anniversary.
Yeah, so he could have thought that was who it was.
Yeah.
Alright. And he's clearly been moving because the Yellow Shadow Hunter was still around this morning, right?
Right.
And then has vanished since then.
Spanish since then. And yes. And the other person is Undaunted Zedong, who's gone to a lot of trouble to be disgusting.
So let's ask this. The question that I think is still outstanding, that I want to know what your theory is. Your theory that that he was trying to draw out the vanished disciple, that he was trying to eliminate a loose end with Yellow Shadow Hunter, who was the lost disciple. What is he trying to draw out the son of Faye and kind of close off the loose ends? Which do you think is most logical for his reason to going for all this trouble?
Ooh. I wonder if I wonder if what it is he. See, the thing is, Sun Zeng has that corrupt form, so who taught her that? So was it Yellow Shadow Hunter? Is that part of the problem? But like why he was going to die during that, and doesn't matter who he was in some ways?
So what you're saying is Yellow Shadow Hunter is the disciple, helped Sun Guanyang in this thing 15 years ago. Time has passed, and now there's some threat that this is all going to get revealed. Plus, it turns out that Yellow Shadow Hunter is teaching his daughter a corrupt form.
Who has an ambition towards taking over the family.
Right. And so he goes through this thing in an attempt to eliminate the loose end of Yellow Shadow Hunter, to fake his own death, to get the trail of people off of him, and to kind of hide these things.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the suggestion?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Patrick, that seems reasonable to you, or as reasonable it can get.
So who's the body?
The body is Yellow Shadow Hunter.
No.
No,
That's-
can't be
that's
Yellow
right,
Shadow.
that's right. The body is the monk. The body is the monk.
I think the body's. I guess it's the monk.
Yeah, because here's the thing. So here's what we know. Kills the monk, takes the place of the monk. Later on,
Oh, that's why the wine, he snuck wine, and then he had to refill the wine because he wasn't really a monk. So there was the other thing.
and so later on, he kills Yellow Shadow Hunter, which was part of his intent, and then took his guys for a while, and is then swapping back and forth between the monk and Yellow Shadow Hunter.
Yeah, I like actually the wine. I think that part of his plan to kill the monk is that he brought this wine out to drink with him, putting the sleeping draught in it, knocks him out, and replaces the wine with something cheaper.
I think that's all the clues.
Whew, this is a convoluted theory.
That's how we do it.
That's how we do it.
So you're rolling with a +3, Tyler,
Okay.
because I'm not having Sherry roll this for you.
I haven't gotten over 6 tonight.
And I don't believe you had a chance to roll Theorize yet, Tyler, whereas I know Patrick has.
Oh. All right. That's a 9.
That is a 9. So on a 9, it is the correct solution. I think that you will realize, as you're thinking about this, that you've seen people going around, and the last thing that you saw just recently, as you kind of did it, and you kind of flash back, was the magistrate dealing with the coffins and the captain going off with the monk.
Lord.
And you realize that the captain's probably in danger.
Yes.
We have to save him.
That's where we'll do the final scene for that next time,
All right.
essentially, because clearly, I mean, he probably has some general purpose disguises. He'll probably try and disguise himself as the captain and leave and get out from under this. So you need to go and rescue him, and you know he is a dangerous opponent. He is the head of his school. Does that seem cool?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. That is where we are going to end the broadcast. I'm going to stop that.